Ray, welcome to our show. We have Ray, the CEO and founder, not the co-founder, just the founder.
Co-founder.
With your father?
Right. Co-founder.
No, I know your father is your co-founder, or
yes.
You and your father co-founded Monat, which
right.
is a very
Monat.
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 Yeah, like modern nature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I know there's a lot of confusion, and we actually have a song about how to pronounce.
I thought it's like a French name, Monet.
It's not from, it's Monat from
painter.
modern nature, a lot of things. Monat, Monat.
Okay. So you're the founder.
You're not going to sing the song on the podcast?
You can
sorry.
We have the mic. That is the right mic. Okay. So
that's my sister. Yeah.
We have. So it's fair to say you're a billionaire, and I think you're the first billionaire on our show.
Thank you for manifesting that.
And well, I mean, it is what it is. You have to celebrate your successes. I've met with you the first time in 2017, right?
Yeah, I think so. Right. Wow,
2017.
years,
Yes, and I remember we met, and later on we went to grab lunch at the end of 2017, and that was the third year of business for you, and you made only 300 million in sales.
Right.
Yes.
Disappointed about that.
Yes, we're gonna have to ask you a lot of questions. How one comes to a point that does that on a third year of business, making profit, doesn't raise, I guess, and how you came about doing that. What's important, I guess, now when you're at that height compared to how it was before. We have a lot of questions. Personal life, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm from Venezuela originally, so I moved to the U.S. 22 years ago in 2000. I was moved with my wife. We were the first people in my family to actually move to the U.S. Completely alone, with $600 in our pockets. Getting the bus in Miami with shocks, right? Public transportation is not great. Found a few jobs. My wife worked at McDonald's. I worked at Sears in the hardware department as a part-timer. I'm not a handyman by any means, so it's terrible. But did a lot of things. Pick up people at the airport, to take them to Calle 20, to get the wholesale shopping.
Anything.
Calle 20 is a place where all the wholesalers are, at least it used to be.
You know this
place. So Calle 20 is, for anyone that's not from Miami, or even if you're in Miami and you don't know, that's the place where you find all the wholesalers. If you want to open a business, people would fly down from Latin America mostly, and they would know. A lot of Latinos would know about that. So that's a known street for that.
Right. So I would go there, drive people around for $100 a day. Then actually there, I started buying perfumes, designer perfumes, and selling it door to door, to friends, did all kind of jobs. And that's how we started our life here in America.
Wow. If anyone has any doubt that you don't need to start with money, here it is, a life example where it's kind of like, I heard this good analogy in a podcast where you say, listen, when you play poker, you can have a good hand and still lose. You can have a bad hand and still win. The good players, it's not about what hand they have, it's how they play. Okay. So it doesn't matter where you came from life.
Actually, I think
you can always make it.
Because I talk about this a lot. I think if you have more resources, you're going to be less efficient because you will waste so much. When you don't have resources, you just have to be smart about how you invest and spend those few dollars that you have, especially at the beginning of a company, right?
Absolutely.
And also because, so you come here, you don't have anything, you're trying to make ends meet. Do you think the, like you said, the hard work and the need to support your family, do you think that gave you the edge? Almost like an immigrant edge.
Right. Well, I think it's like you have no option, right? I remember when I moved here, my dad, who is my partner and is an amazing entrepreneur, has always been, but he was one of the first that told me, don't go, right? You're going to end up serving tables, watching cards. What's the point? I was middle class in Venezuela. I wasn't bad. I was super young. But I always said, no, there have to be better things to do, right? There have to be something better in life. But then when you move here as an immigrant, I think there is no plan B, right? This is the plan A that you have. And when you don't have a plan B, you have to make it work.
Yes.
And that's the thing that you have, when people have something to fall on, I feel that they don't go all in because you always, in your mind, you always have, but I have a plan B. And your mind will always try to protect you, right? Your mind will always tell you the things and the reasons why you won't be able to make it. So that's, I think, what sometimes immigrants just give that extra mile.
It was the statistic I heard that I think 89% of all entrepreneurs started from the bottom. and the other 11% had something to show for. So that's a different motivation reason. Sometimes you feel you've sat down, and I know a few that came from money and made much more money.
Yeah.
But it's not as much. First, you don't have too many people with money. That's a first thing. Let's be fair about that. But then the ones that do find a reason, it's just you like to build stuff. It's not because you're comfortable and they like to try something new. And if you sit down at a table and everyone's kind of like contractors buying, selling buildings, and on the dinner table, you hear all the men as a kid talking about buildings, it sounds easy for you, and you don't put mental barriers.
But that's why, because you were raised in this mindset, right? Like you're raised in an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I had to break out of that because my family all had stable government jobs. They all had the 9 to 5, and that's safe, and that's not a high risk lifestyle. So I had to break out of that versus somebody who's grown up with it all the time. And then you grow up and you're like, okay, my whole family, we all build things. All my friends build things.
How many people do you know that actually came from money and made more money than their parents?
None.
Okay, I know one.
I don't know
I only
any.
know one person. And
I don't know
I know
many.
a lot of people, but I only know one that had that story.
I'm trying to think now. I don't think I know any that
Interesting.
came from money and made more money than their parents. If anything, they lost money.
Oh, that's the majority, right? And that's the idea. When you look at poker, you can have great hand and lose it all. You can have bad hand and still win. And it's like in life where you see rich kids losing all the parents' money, and then you see poor kids making all the money to their kids that would eventually lose a lot of that money.
I guess you could say
That's-
Elon Musk.
Well, I don't know him personally.
I know,
so-
I don't know.
I mean, I was busy. He keeps calling me, bugging me. I just stop. But yeah, that's where you say anyone can make it. But that's a perfect story how you came in, cleaning tables, and now let's talk about how do you get into it?
Well, day after that, so I was lucky. Both my parents were very entrepreneurial, right? Or are very entrepreneurial. So they come from very, 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 very poor means, and they did direct sales. They did Tupperware, right? Tupperware parties. And that's how they got out of poverty to middle class, gave me a middle class too. So when I moved here in 2000, a year, 2 years later, my father called me, and he had retired from Tupperware and had split with my mom, retired from Tupperware, and completely went bankrupt. Right? Lost all his money because he started doing things that he didn't know about, restaurants, and, construction, and lost all his money. So when I moved to the United States, he was broke, I was broke, and he called me, right, Lex, why don't we open our own direct sales company? I know direct sales. You're there, maybe you can come up with something that we can sell and market. And it's like that. You're broke, I'm broke. How do we do this? Like, no, I think some of our relatives want to invest with us and with that idea that we have, with this idea that we have. So initially we raised something like $80,000. We took that $80,000 from 2002 until 2010, and we make it in a $200 million company without outside financing. So I was shipping products. I was making products here in the United States and shipping it to Latin America, especially, mainly Venezuela, and distributed there through direct sales.
Interesting.
And
And that was originally Monat?
No, that was
That
a
was
company
before.
that was called Liquidity. It was called Illusions initially, and then we expanded to other countries because of trademark, as my Illusions was taken. We changed it to Liquidity, and that was the company that we had to shut down in 2012 because the mess that happened in Venezuela
Yes.
with the government and currency
So primarily you were
devaluation.
selling in Venezuela.
What's our lion's share of the business was?
$200 million selling into Venezuela direct sale.
We're the biggest
Wow.
direct sales company there. Yeah, it was crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're shipping containers with products from here, and we're doing a lot of promotions like appliances and toasters and TVs. And we're shipping it from Asia. We're shipping something like 1,500 containers a year.
But this is interesting. So you're saying your father was doing Tupperware, which he was working for an MLM company. He went out, cashed out, whatever, put all that money into something he doesn't know, lost all that money.
Right.
Then went back to what he knows, but thought, how can I actually make my own business like a Tupperware?
Correct.
And that's when you guys took off and
Exactly.
and changed
That's
your
how we
life.
started doing it. We did it with $80,000. It wasn't nothing sophisticated. Our first catalog was a PowerPoint presentation. I didn't know what I was doing. I was 19, so I came to do a bath and body line. And the first,
You're already married at the age of 19?
I married at the age of 19, yeah. No, we've been
Interesting. Wow.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you,
amazing.
Thank you. Actually, 18.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I've been dating Carolina since I was 16 years old. So,
Nice.
so yeah, so we did this business, and initially I remember we started doing the products, loading my first container myself. I have the pictures actually posted in my Instagram the other day. The first products was body lotions and body mist. The first shipment, 20% of it got lost because it was leaking on the container.
Yeah.
The labels were wrinkling, but you know what?
You need those errors in the beginning.
It's never perfect,
Yes.
and I think that's another. If we want to talk about advice, I always tell people never wait for the perfect moment because it's never going to happen. Right?
Can I understand something too? Because I want to define some things just for the audience. So direct sales, network marketing, MLM. What's define these, and are they the same? Are they different?
It's kind of the same. Right? I would say everything will fall into the direct sales umbrella. It's a great question. Because even I ask myself, sometimes we are defined by network marketing, but we did direct sales. When we did our first company, in our mind, we were not in network marketing. We're in direct sales. Normally, direct sales is more like I go do a party, maybe have one person under me helping me or doing a team, and that's it. Network marketing, you have different levels, right? So it's a little bit deeper. And actually, for me, network marketing was like the dark side. Like I'll never be one of those network marketing companies, but I was in direct sales. But in reality, everything is direct sales, right?
What is the difference between a pyramid scheme that I'll say in a negative term versus the today's legal multi-level marketing known as MLM?
Yeah, it's very clearly defined by the FTC.
Okay.
So the FTC clearly says the difference between a pyramid scheme and an actual legal network marketing company is that you have to have an actual product, right? A tangible product to sell. So what happened in the 90s, for example, is that a lot of these companies still existing, big companies, could make a lot of money selling video cassettes with training. And that's not really a product, right? That's not really a consumable product. And the FTC made it illegal. So you cannot be selling training, right? Or selling an audio. That's not a product. You have to be selling something that people is going to use.
But there still have been MLM companies that have a product that still get into trouble because I feel like they don't push the product enough.
Right.
And they make, I think, is there like an FTC definition of how much revenue can come from one versus another?
It's not clear, and that's the issue with the FTC sometimes, that they want to put all these rules, but they don't black and white tell you what. Now, there is some background on what happened with Herbalife, and I think what they told them, the ruling was with Herbalife, you have to have over 60% of your revenue coming from customers. But there was a ruling that they made on Herbalife, and it's like a guideline.
So let me just, so the audience will understand. Yeah, you're basically selling you're selling people a business. They sell other people your product. So if I come to work for an MLM company like Monat or Herbalife, I go out, I pay $1,000 or so, I get a bunch of those products, and now my job is to go and sell it. And if anybody ever wants to buy those products, they have to go through a guy like me to buy them. So you sell me a business, I sell your product. Is that correct? Is that a fair? And then they say, well...
Not necessarily, because you might come to Monat, and many of our market partners come and say, in fact, we have a new program that...
So you can go and buy directly from Monat?
Not a customer. A customer have to buy through an independent market partner.
Okay, so that was my idea. So you cannot just go and buy it from the company. There are no stores or online websites. Correct. You have to buy from a person that has their code, that you go on a website and you buy through their code, right. Or you buy from the person
Which is
directly.
The same principle of an affiliate program, right? You have to buy through an affiliate.
Yes, but a company doesn't have to sell their products through affiliates on an MLM. It must be distributed through your market partners, correct? Okay. But so 60% would mean 60% of the revenue that you made would come from selling the actual replenishment product for them versus selling the business to people. They're selling the actual package for the first timers.
Exactly.
And okay.
Well, no, even better.
Okay.
Right? Or even most of the revenue of a company, for example, in my case, in the case of Monat, over 70% of my revenue comes from shipment that I do directly to a customer that has nothing to do with the opportunity. And I'll tell you why we do this and how we do it. In the past, right before technology, and still many companies do it this way, I would sell the product to the distributor, and I would expect that distributor to resell that product to a customer. I had no control, right? Now with technology, what we did differently is that if you come into Monat and you enroll as a market partner, I'll give you a website. It's called a replicated website, right? So you get your website with your name on the URL and everything, whatever you want to put, along with mymonat.com, and you go in and tell Scott, buy my product. Scott will buy from your website through the shopping cart and everything on your website. The company will ship the product to Scott. You don't even touch the product. It's different. It's a big difference because now I know for a fact that the product is going to an end consumer. In the past, I would give you all the inventory, and what will happen is that maybe you wouldn't sell it and end up with your garage full of product.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the difference. We ship directly to the customer, so we know
The sales,
that
you know
the sales
exactly
go
what
to an end,
happened.
and
Yeah.
in 70% of my
So
my
what
revenue
most
comes
people don't hold the product in their garage. Most people just go and tell you,
Absolutely.
send it over. And then, but they still have to give you an amount deposit for product that you just get to hold in your facility, right?
Not at
When
all.
they subscribe. No?
Not at all.
Okay, so you just sign up and you don't have to invest any money.
You invest. Most people invest $200.
Interesting.
Right? So when you come to enroll, which you mentioned $1,000,
Yeah.
still companies doing that. We don't do that. We don't tell a new market partner buy $1,000. I don't want you to front load a bunch of products.
You believe in your product and you said
Yeah,
I
we
can.
encourage
yes.
you to buy. There's a bigger package that we call it product pack. I think it's now $500. And we encourage you like maybe try the whole line, $500. But you know what? I think I'm gonna say 90% of the people will come with $200, and that $200, it's like $350 worth of products. So you're actually getting the product. You might use it for yourself or not.
Show it off when you're trying to sell it.
Right, or use it for yourself, whatever you want, or use it as a tool. But it's not a big investment. That's all the investment you make.
Interesting.
$200. That's it. And then after that, you start selling products.
So this is turning into like a significant affiliate. This is almost like an affiliate program,
Yeah.
almost. Very,
Yeah.
very close.
Very close, very close. In fact, I just launched, we did a convention last month. It was a lot of fun, 10,000 people in St. Louis. And I launched a new thing called affiliate program, right? And what we're telling you is that you can start a business in Monat and you don't have to build a thing if you don't want to. You can just build your first few three ranks based on just selling products, if you want. We still encourage you to build a team, but if you want, do it like that because it's so similar, right, to an affiliate program. And a lot of people saying, oh, but we love the products. I mean, Monat is getting awards in publications, in Elle, in Fortune, in Glamour, Vogue. So like, I want to sell the product. I don't want to build a team. So okay, sell products. And we have a bunch of people doing that. Yeah.
So when you have 10,000 people coming to your show,
Explain that, because
explain that. Like 10,000 people coming into one facility.
because you just came. So we were having a conversation before, and you just had a big conference where
St. Louis.
St. Louis, and 10,000 people showed up.
Yeah. Actually, we're registered for 20,000.
Okay.
And we're less than that this time because plane tickets are very expensive and, you know, I think post-pandemic. But yeah, but when we have over 20,000 registered.
And they all make money, I assume, because they flew down there, right? You have more than that amount, but then all those people actually turn. What's the highest paid type check you pay per month to one individual?
Well, that's something I shouldn't say because
Okay.
the FTC
Don't say.
income claims. Now, there is an income disclosure statement, right? Maybe I can mention it. There's a range. There's an income disclosure statement, which is public. And you can go Monat income disclosure statement. You can see the average median income of each rank. I could say the highest pay would be something like $3 million a year.
Amazing.
Yeah, for one person. Right?
One person. And how many people grossed over $1 million?
You can't.
No.
Are
How
you
many
allowed to-
people
are you allowed to
combined?
say?
No. He's
Oh, yeah.
allowed.
No,
Okay.
I could say that.
You can say that,
I don't
yes.
know from the top of my head.
You cannot mention other, but that you
I
can mention.
should mention names,
Roughly,
but
yes.
I don't know, maybe from the top of my head, maybe 20, 30 people, 40 will make about $1 million a year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you have a significant amount of people over there. Like anywhere else, you always have the top 0.1% or so that are the one that can.
And that's the thing that sometimes frustrates me, right?
Yes.
Because they say, wow, everybody in network marketing fails. But isn't it true
For
in
anything
every
else
business?
in life?
Well, I was going to
Absolutely,
say,
yes.
if you have 20, 30, 40 people that make over $1 million, and the brand's done, the fulfillment's done, the product's created, and they just have to market it, that's not a bad business idea. In all seriousness, because if you think about what you'd have to do to make $1 million in even like drop shipping Amazon product, you have to do a
If you
lot.
go to a flea market and you know people are coming to buy and you create the environment for everything, you create a space, you create, okay, I know that I'll have multiple booths, I'll make more than $1 million a year. The flea market is going to have some winners, some losers. Some people are going to come lose their money putting a booth and then waste their time and money. Some people are going to be big,
Yeah.
right? It's the same with Amazon. Some people can make it. You create a marketplace, you create the infrastructure, you invest in everything else. And let me ask you, in terms of tiers, how many tiers down? So if I brought Scott brought in Jenna brought in Shaniqua, somebody it just goes down. How many layers down is allowed to you by the FTC to have
No,
as an
there is
MLM?
not.
But everyone gets commission from the people
No,
underneath it?
No, there is no rule for that. Every compensation plan is different.
Okay, so you have a compensation. If I brought 20 layers down, so I brought one person, that person
No.
brought another person, I'll keep going down and make commission on all the people that
Well,
will go down.
no, it's not infinite, right? And once again, depending on the higher the rank, the deeper you can go, right? So normally it's like 5, 6 levels, depending on the rank.
So eventually, it's less about how much you sell; it's about how much you solicit people to enter the program.
It's both, right? Once again, there are people making thousands of dollars a month just by retail commissions, right? And there is people making tens of thousands by building a team, right? So it depends. It depends.
Interesting.
But I was going to say about the failing, because this annoys me a lot. It's like most people fail. Yeah, but if you just Google SBA, what is it, Small Business Association?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't like 95% of
It is,
companies will fail after 5 years
Yeah.
or something like that? So what's the difference, right? The difference is that here you only have to invest
$200.
$200.
Yes, you don't
And
have
your
to open a
time, and your
store,
talent.
yeah.
What's the worst that could happen, right? And they say, oh, but you're skimming people for $200. No, because the median average income from my first rank is something like $1,600 a year. So you're making something, and most people will make this as a side.
A side hustle,
Right.
side job.
The gig economy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard, but the gig economy is growing. Everyone want to make Amazon or Uber, Uber Eats, the gig economy. So what a lot of people want is an extra $500, $300, and need is $200, $300, $500, and that's what most people do, and they do this as a part-time job.
You tell us a little bit, talking about people, like blaming you guys for MLM has a whole cult organization almost against anyone that has MLM. It seems like they don't even try the product. They don't know much, but they're already going to come with it's MLM. Okay, let's go and fry them. I didn't dive too much into it, but I've read so much. Tell us your experience with that.
Yeah. When we started we call them the haters, right? Because that's all they do, right? They wake up every day to do a beautiful setup like this to hate on companies. It's like, how do you, because it blows my mind, right? They do their homework, man. They know every detail. It's like you wake up in the morning just to spread negativity, to try to bring some people
But
down.
they'll say, no, I mean, listen, we see people getting scammed and so on. They probably, I'm sure there's a lot of people that just want to go and get the views to get a big account.
That's mostly what happened.
Okay.
In my opinion.
So you guys had something back in the day, but you went through this and it kind of like died. You were telling me about something. I know what happened when you get trolled. I know how it is when you run a company and it's big and you're a target just because you're big.
Social media.
Social media is brutal. Yes. So I can totally feel when it's just unfair, where people demonize the owner for any reason. Tell us your experience. What happened to you guys?
Absolutely, yeah. And so in 2017, we went from 40 million to 300 million, right? The company exploded, thousands of people joined. We're everywhere, right? And we started the company based on doing a lot of Facebook back then, right? A lot of Facebook. Then we moved into Instagram in 2017 and started getting these trolls, right? Just demonizing the company, talking about things that the product was making that they were saying things like that our hair care products and shampoos would make your hair fall. We have to do hundreds of thousands of dollars in clinical testing to prove the contrary. we have a lawsuit, right? Because it's like, okay, well, you know what? Let's do a lawsuit, right? A class action and get money. And we have proven then again and again,
Closer to Mike.
again and again, that it's not actually true. Through clinical studies and through the fact that started in 2017, the company have doubled in size, and now everything's solved by itself, right? We never change the formulas. It just showed the power of social media for the positive, but also for the
You
negative.
showed me, so you're saying that it was starting with a comment that then took off, and eventually you had to get a private investigator because someone said, "Oh, my child lost his hair," and then you find
Terrible.
it was a false claim because they actually had cancer treatment, that child, and that's why they lost their hair. And
Terrible.
you had to
I
deal with that.
cannot, for me, it was mind blowing how people could do things like this. I think it's for attention or, I don't know, for money. I don't know how. But then the network marketing haters would get into that and really go strong in
They
creating
double
groups.
down on. So there's a trending story in network marketing. Oh, another company,
Well,
another
exactly,
company
right.
that's doing.
And they
that.
still do. I mean, they
Yeah.
still do. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I
Are
don't
they
know
still
what's-
chasing you guys?
Oh yeah. I mean, all the time. And every time we get momentum,
It's
the
something
haters
happens.
show up. It's like because they want, I don't know. Every time we get momentum, and we have one now. I don't. By the way, I don't pay a lot of attention to them because what I learned in 2018 is that they were draining all my energy, right? And when I learned is that the bigger you are, the more you will have. So I said, listen, I'm not gonna solve this. It's gonna keep happening. People will find a reason, right?
Yeah.
So I just stopped paying attention to me. I tell my executives, don't even show me. I don't want to know. Because literally, they're just somebody in the basement, somewhere in the middle of the country, just talking without knowledge.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that there was one recently that all this video and this on analysis and show all these numbers, and she misread all these numbers. Terrible. That girl wanted to be a market partner a couple of years ago. I have the screenshots, right? I have the screenshots. If she's seen for the first time, I have never said this. I have the screenshot. She wanted to be a market partner. Then she tried another company, failed in that company, and now it's her life mission to badmouth network marketing companies. So you went, you failed, and now you badmouth the companies, and that's all you do with them all day long. So for me, there is no point really. I mean, they're there, but I don't really pay attention to that. But I know it's they demonize the industry, right? And it's very unfair. Sometimes it's true, but it's very unfair.
I know. I was gonna ask. Do people go after you personally? Do you
No.
have issues on your Instagram?
No, I really don't. I mean, I think they know that I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I really don't get in a fight with them. I really don't care. All I want to do is what I do, and I know I'm doing well. So, and I'm doing good. So I don't really.
So who's your biggest competitor right now?
I don't think about competitors. To be honest, I have never have.
I just don't know anyone else in the hair industry on the MLM.
No,
side.
we were the
But
first.
do you compete with like the regular?
Yes.
Regular.
I
say regular, like direct to consumer or regular.
the haircare
B2B,
industry,
yeah.
right? I do see and watch, and the team watch the trends of the hair industry, right? What's out there, what's new. But I don't really see, because network marketing is a channel, social selling is a channel, right? It's a $130 billion channel. It's $40 billion in the US. We're the only one really focusing on hair, right? We're the first one, still the only one in this channel. Right? We're the number one hair care brand in the world now. By
Really?
revenue. Yep.
In size.
In size, yeah,
The number one in the world.
in the world. Yeah.
Wow.
What are some other big name some other big ones that would be
Metrics,
comparing, competing in your category?
Aveda is big. I would say Kerastase. Olaplex is doing good. But very different approaches of what we do. Right? They're not vegan. They are not natural based. But they're doing good in terms of revenue. There's a Chinese one. I don't remember the name, but they're not here in the US. They're really big in Asia.
But I was just curious because you said you're bigger than all those other companies. Now, I want to talk about how we keep saying MLM, network marketing, direct sale, whatever, how that type of company grows as quick as it did. So why do you think, in your opinion, your company, I can't remember the numbers you just mentioned.
For how did we grow?
Yeah, how did you grow? Because you went from, what was the number you mentioned? You went
From 40 to 300.
That's insane.
And we went all the way to 800.
in how many years?
We went all the way to 800 in 6 years.
So that's not normal for most
No,
businesses.
it's not normal for network marketing either, right?
Yeah.
We're number 20, which is about number 20, depending on the year, number 20 in the industry, in the network marketing industry. We were set by the WWD, top 50 beauty brands in the world. So it's not normal in the industry or in the beauty industry or in the network marketing industry. In fact, they say that when you join, when you start a company, if you do well, you'll have 500 distributors year one. We had 500 distributors month one. Man. Actually, when we launched.
Month one, yes.
Yeah. So how?
Well, I think we came up with a great marketing strategy, right? We came up with a great story of hair. I think it was the right time when we did it in 2014. The premium hair care industry was growing, right? We were the first ones to come up with a skimification of the scalp. Mm-hmm. Nobody was talking about that. Nobody was talking about the fact that your hair ages. It was an interesting conversation that people say, oh, I want to try this. Natural-based products that work. That's my mantra, right? I want to make natural-based products that actually work, not only organic products that don't do much.
What is the price of one shampoo?
But depending on if you buy as a VIP customer, which are our preferred customers, about $38.
Okay. Yeah. $38. It's a fair price, actually.
But back then, when I started, a lot of people told me nobody's gonna
pay so much.
Nobody would pay more than $10. But if you really show clinicals and real results, people's willing to pay.
So, do you have claims on the product?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, why hair?
Well, you know what? It's kind of a coincidence and kind of a study I did. Scientific studies that I did going to grocery stores and CVS and Ulta and Sephora. Back then, we ended up, when we started our first company, we shut the company in 2012, right? So it's like zero. Have to let go everyone. Started getting with 6 employees.
The Venezuelan direct sales.
I had kind of my headquarters here in Miami already because we opened in Mexico, Ecuador, Colombia. It was smaller markets for us. But when it shut down Venezuela, it was the biggest market. We started from zero again. And it's like, what do we do, right? What do we do? And then we ended up acquiring the private label manufacturer that was doing my products, right? Because we're the main customers. It's like, we don't want you to go under when we shut down, and there's so much potential, formulations, there's a nice lab. I don't want you to go under. We ended up acquiring. So we ended up acquiring them. So when we ended up acquiring, they said, what do we do? I went to the lab. It's like, what is the best things that we do here? What's the expertise that we have here in this lab? And I figured out what's hair. No, they're good. And do we have anything in hair care? And then I started talking about that, about skimification of the scalp, hair aging, and all that. And just by that, said, let's focus on hair. And then I went to see the industry. It's like, actually, nobody is doing hair care.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that I said nobody's doing hair care, I will do hair. It's what actually saw first was my strength, and then by coincidence, nobody was doing hair.
Interesting.
And then that's how we started. I think that also got a lot of attention because everybody does, supplements, vitamins, and it's like hair. So I think it was interesting.
So it wasn't competitive, but it was in a business that just had the vacuum. No one was selling an MLM any hair. And that was making a lot of sense, right? And you had already expertise, so you were able to hit the ground running.
Right. So we did that, and we started the company. Back then, I think you'll appreciate this, I had no distributors. So in the United States, so we want to focus now on the United States as a market. I was living here, but it wasn't my market. I want to focus on the United States as the main market. And we have no distributors. So the husband of a friend said, you should do a pay-per-click campaign. Do you remember those? Like, what's that? Right? And she said, yeah, you can do a pay-per-click campaign, targeted campaign. We started with $5,000 campaign. And that $5,000 brought me my first few distributors. And actually, some of those few distributors are still with the company.
Interesting. Wow. All the retention is good. It's kind of funny when you said, look, I already had something over here. I had to make it do. When I said, I know one guy that came from money and did bigger than his parents, that's a funny story. They were in warehouses. One of the guys didn't pay his rent, and he just left. And he built a cremation business in it. He built everything. He put the oven, all that, and then just left. So he started a cremation business alongside that, and he had it for years, and eventually exit the business. Just make do. I got it already. What else am I gonna do? So it's cool. You took that, and you move it now. If there was one thing you would have changed in the past, what's one thing you could go back and tell yourself, hey, listen, do this, or what would it be?
In the business, in this business?
In AI, to your younger self when you started the business, in this business, yes, in Monat.
You know, it's gonna sound cheesy, but I do think that your journey makes you who you are.
Yes.
So you have to make the mistakes, you have to make the right thing. So I don't really know if I could have done anything different in my life. One thing that have helped me is I've always have sense of urgency. Since I was really young, I was maybe 16, 17 already was doing businesses and doing all kind of things. In terms of businesses, like for example, say Monat, right? When we started Monat, I would have maybe do my due diligence of what was the right things to do in terms of doing the claims, right? Because I didn't know you need clinicals, right? I knew I was doing the right things. We tested, we tried, but went deeper in those kind of things.
Yeah.
But then I said I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because usually when I get that question, I always say one thing. It's just, if there was any doubt to let someone go, it's always about, I let them go too late. That was my thing as,
when I was
as an
talking to
entrepreneur.
I was talking to someone about that.
Yeah.
You don't fire quick enough?
Well, I think I actually do, but you never feel like a regret over letting someone go because you don't just go chop off heads for no reason. But when you let someone go, you always find out later on that you should have let them go sooner. It would have been, no matter how, because many times you say, the momentum, keep them a little bit longer. And like, no.
Because it's the most unnerving thing to do as an entrepreneur, especially like
That's
a
the one you
first-time
hate.
entrepreneur.
Nobody likes
wants to fire anyone.
Yes.
It's a hard conversation to have, right?
Yeah, I think for me, it's not that it isn't hard, because it is, especially when there's sometimes it's good people. It's more about you're always in fear of, am I going to create a gap in the company, right? For too long. What happened? Who's going to do this?
How many times did you feel like you fired a person and you should have kept them longer? If you even
Never.
had that.
Never.
That's a...
And that's a great question. I have
Yes.
a conversation I was having with my brother, he's my chief of staff. And I was talking about someone, and I told him, Javi, 100% of the time that we have this conversation, 100% of the time we'll eventually say, why didn't we do this before?
The uncomfort of letting that position being eliminated until you find another person doesn't outweigh the fact that person wasn't the right person, and you only find the holes after they leave because they're very good at covering them. And then you said, oh, damn, it should have been sooner.
Right,
and it's every time you go back to yourself and you said, next time it wouldn't happen, and then it happened again because you know what? You already know the person, you feel bad.
It's like,
yes.
it's funny you bring this up, because now that you're talking, I made that mistakes many.
And you're repeating, right? It's just human nature,
times.
yes.
And I keep doing the mistake. I keep making that mistake all the time. And so what I've done is that I create like a mental checklist.
Yes.
Right? So number one that you want, and you will hear this from every big guy that's running bigger companies, is culture. Right? Number one thing. And you know it. Like, that this person is in the right culture, is never going to work.
Yeah.
And sometimes we want to convince ourselves because they are capable and they have the background and they have the technical skills and they don't have the culture, and just like, no, we'll make it work. It will never work.
Never work.
It will never work. And then sometimes, sadly, they have the culture, but they don't have the skills.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, I'm going to try, right? But sometimes you can't, depending on the position. If it's a very senior position, there's no way to make it work. And also, if you let a B player or C player in the team, it's really going to alienate those A players, right? Because it's going to bring everybody down. Because, so this is the standard. You kind of setting the bar. You want to keep the bar high, right? And that's how you win.
Yeah, one of the worst parts is to keep a B player in a managerial position because A's hire A's, B's hire C's, because B's sees A's and B's as a threat. And before you know it, you get yourself a group of C's being managed by a B that kills anyone that has a chance, and eventually you keep them longer, and they're masters of disguise. They know how to keep like showing what you need to see and expect what you don't inspect, and they keep you outside of the loop and for purpose.
And the other thing I have in my checklist is passion, right? So there is this person I was talking about just this week. It's like, I just don't feel that person had the passion, right? So even though we're a big company, I want to have the passion. I have the passion. I want the people around me to have the passion of a startup. Right? When you're a startup, you have the passion. You want to make everything better. You want to make everything quick. And then comes those with bureaucracy.
Yes.
But it takes time. You have to be patient, right?
Yeah.
I just doing my job, but I can see in your eyes that you don't have the passion for a specific thing that you're doing. So if you don't have the passion, I don't want.
What
you
are
on
the
my team.
ways to find them before they start? How can you? What are the questions you usually would ask those people to see? Okay, those are going to be those bureaucrats, and how do you eliminate that?
Ditch their resumes, right?
Yes.
I learned that also the hard way. I would see the resume and it's like, great. But then I learned because of LinkedIn, people who could work in the company and then were posting LinkedIn, I work at Monat and I did this and that. It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
You were maybe a part of the team, but you didn't actually do that. It's like, how do you believe in a resume? So don't go by
Don't
resumes.
believe, yes.
Don't believe in the resumes.
I had people, by the way, writing down their positions. When you would go and search my company, you would see all those employees, and you would see people that never worked for us and say that they're directors of XYZ. They've never worked on my and that's
worse.
where it's yes. So you're saying ditch the resume, but on the interview, how do you go and you talk to a person? What are the questions you ask to kind of like tell? Okay,
Well,
that's-
one way for me to spot it is asking a project. Like, okay, what's been your biggest win? And they'll tell you, I launched this product, right? Okay, tell me how you did it. Well, no, but how you come up with that? So start digging tactical questions.
Yes.
Listen, I get sometimes people filter by human resources, department heads, and then they come to me. And in 20 minutes,
You find out.
what
Yes. Why
what do you say? You didn't notice that this person, they don't actually know what they're talking about. Because if you ask me about my business,
Yes, you know all the
I mean,
details.
how long do I have? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, ask me about how to make a product, or ask me anything about my business. I'll just tell you how much you want to know, because you'll tell me, yeah, I can be here all day, all night. And then you ask people, it's like, I do product development. Okay, tell me, what's the process? Tell me what's the harder things about them. Tell me what are the hurdles. And they'll tell you one thing. These are all you have to say. You either have no passion or you really don't know the technical questions, the technical details.
Then you find that there's just a manager that doesn't touch the details.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's another issue too. When somebody assumes all the responsibility and hasn't done the work, right? So they say they've done this, but it was really a team.
I see all the time. I'm hiring a mid-management position. It's like, I increased sales 600%. And I tell them, it's like, you didn't. So tell me how you were part of a team that maybe did something, and what part did you play on that team. So I think digging down, that's my number one thing.
Which is, by the way, that's still valid. If the person built a team that accomplishes a thing,
But don't say I.
Don't say I. Say I built.
Sometimes you're part of a team. There is someone above you that build multiple teams, and
That's true
they
too.
take credits. I mean, it's a very
Well, no, you take credit for your role as an operator, or if you have direct reports, that's what you can say that you built.
Yeah.
And to be great, you have to be into the weeds, right?
Yes.
So that's the number one thing, right? So you have to be into the weeds. So if I'm hiring you to do events, I will ask you, what is your benchmark? What are the companies that do the best events, right? If I'm hiring you for products, and I'm talking about skincare, so tell me what the skincare brands are killing it right now. Which ones are those? If I'm asking you about direct sales, so what do you think are the direct sales companies that are winning and why? And most of the times they won't tell me. Like, so you really don't know the industry.
Now,
And I want
ever
people
happened
know.
that you did all that tactical questions to see that he came from the bottom, grew to the top, and you say, you know what, the guy is tactical, sounds like he knows what they're doing, or she, and then they come in and then they're not. What are the indication for you, like when you say, okay, it's not gonna work, like how long usually it takes you, and then what are the...
Yeah, it's hard because sometimes you have to give them the chance.
Yes.
Of 3-6 months, and I mean in my company they go like that because we're really
You're fast.
dynamic. Let me think. How do I?
Did it
spot
ever happen though that a tactical person that was in a managerial position but very good in tactics wasn't the right one, or they're usually performing?
No. I mean, there was one case years ago. I think it was before Monat in my other company. That I hired a CFO and he lasted one morning. True story, right? One morning, yeah.
How do you last one morning?
Well, we went to the conference room.
Sexual harassment, I guess.
Hopefully not.
I don't know.
Well, that was fast.
Yeah.
No, went to the room, started going to a financial statement, and I just saw that he didn't know the details of a P&L.
Oh, well, that's an issue.
And it's hard because this guy came from Avon, which is a
Yeah.
multi-billion-dollar company. But I turned to because it was two CFOs, my older CFO for the umbrella brand. It's like, is it me or this guy is kind of weird? He doesn't know what he's talking about. I lost $10,000. I paid him $10,000 to leave because it's like, I'm not gonna waste.
It's not gonna work. Yeah.
It's not gonna work out. Sometimes, to your point, most of the time after 3 months, you just want to make it work. But then you don't want to be
Yes.
so harsh. Well, maybe they're just.
You ask yourself, is it just me? Am I the crazy one? And it's just, are they right saying I'm too crazy? Yeah.
But sometimes people take time. So I think it's wise for new people to come and ask questions, evaluate, do a recon before coming too hard, too fast. Because they might be abrasive too. So.
But it also depends on the role too. So I come from a sales background, and in enterprise sales, there's long sales cycles too. So you have to look at the activity. You have to look at the leading indicators that will be measurable for success as opposed to lagging indicators. If I have an enterprise sales rep that's coming in that has a 9-month sales cycle, okay, fine. Make sure that you do all the checks ahead of time, but they're going to be 9 months till they close a deal. So you have to make sure they're doing the activities that we know are eventually going to lead to success. And that's what you have to measure on as opposed to the end result. And I think that in some positions, sometimes you measure on the lagging indicators or the end result a little bit too heavily. So that's why you have to have those metrics in place so that you know if the results take a little bit of time.
Great point. But in the meantime, what I've learned is to develop non-negotiables, right? So,
Correct, yeah.
like I said, passion is a non-negotiable for me. Or attention to details is a non-negotiable, right? If I go, you might even be a month-to-month thing if you're on top of a project. If I go and I ask you something and you don't know the details, that's a big red flag for me.
On a managerial position.
Even at a senior position.
No. If you're not managing anyone and you're new and you don't know certain details and you're just a coordinator.
No, he's saying if you're on a project for a period of time.
No, in any position.
Oh, okay.
In any position.
Right, this is the point. I'm a CEO, right? But I have a partner, and we have a board, right?
Yes.
I pride myself on saying, if the board asks me 10 questions, I will have the answers of 9, even if they are very detailed. Obviously, if you ask me, tell me exactly, I don't know. But listen, you ask me, how many orders did we ship yesterday? I'll tell you. What's the waiting times on customer service? I'll tell you. How many people did we sponsor yesterday? How many new customers did we bring? I'll tell you. I know those levels of details. And a lot of people get annoyed by that. But I always tell them, if you want to work with me, you have to be into the weeds, right? But you're micromanaging. You have to micromanage the thing that matters, right? So I'm asking you to micromanage the things that matter in your area. And it do box me that, and once again, I don't want to sound like me, but hold on a minute. I'm overseeing 10 areas of the company. You are focusing on one. I would expect you to know way more details than me.
Yes.
So,
and then you find out that the person is not as technical as you, that you manage the whole. Yeah.
By the way, just knowing doesn't always mean you're micromanaging either.
Exactly.
It just means you have a finger on the pulse of that piece of business. So I think it's good to know. I think that maybe an excuse is, you're micromanaging. It's because they don't want to know. They don't want to pay attention.
And you know what? Pulse. That's so important. You have to have the pulse of what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you have the pulse, you know what to do. So another thing that I tell them is like, because I really want to be fast, let's buy all these reports and analyses and Mintel and Euromonitor. It's like, that's fine. Right? The company pay for that and we use it. But when you really have the pulse of what's going on, of the beauty industry, of the direct sales industry, of the world today, you know what to do fast. You don't really have to analyze a lot because you are so immersed to it that it's just second nature, it's just instincts that allow you to take the decisions fast without having to go through 10 reports. Right?
I think that ultimately the winners are making better decisions. And when you mentioned that your very urgency is very important for you, and I think that's what matters, right? You just keep moving faster than everybody else because you're taking the urgent. You know what's urgent and it's important, which means there's 99% of not important. There is 1% that's important. There is 0.1% that's very important, and there is that percentage that's very urgent. If you always tackle the very important and urgent, and then still manage after that the important, and you weed out all the non-important, the effectiveness of your business is going to put you as a unicorn. And that is the issue with large companies where they deal with so much non-important, and then they attach tiny bit with important and a little bit on the urgent and very important.
Does it happen? I mean, did it happen to you? Because it happens to me that executive will come with nice ideas that just like, this is nice, but does it really matter? I mean,
yes, I've seen this before where
All
you
the
sit
time.
down and it's like, I mean, it takes time to maneuver the company where you say, all right, our meetings are very focused on couple questions. What does our P&L look like from now until the end of the month in terms of on a balance sheet? What are the urgent matters which we had to know, okay, this is shipping the boxes on time. If there are any delays, we need to go and inform the members before. If there are any issues with products not coming on time, we kind of learn after a while that how come we didn't inform the people in advance? Why is it coming to our desk when it's already on social media? So little by little we get efficient, right? It takes time. So then eventually you isolate only what's important. And we're just doing 1 hour a week. Manage like a corporate meeting, 1 hour a week. That's it. Everything else was tactical meetings, just build, create, invent, be into the details. 1 hour just to connect all the branches, and that's it. When we moved on later on and became more corporate and I started stepping out, it was completely different. And you just talk about everything, but the important parts were not there. Things were shipped late. Nobody knows about this. No one talks about all those meetings, you know. So
well, it's interesting because I'm doing my strategy meetings for 23, and okay, let's have initiative, right? And now that we're talking, I'm thinking about things that we have done better. Is that simplification for next year? My word, I also have a word for a year, right? This year was relationships, and I tell people you have to have relationships because coming out of after COVID, we all thought we could do everything digitally. It's like you don't build relationships over Zoom. The next year is simplification. How can we simplify? Because you start growing. It's like when you build a house, right? You build a house and then you start coming with ideas, and then you have the kitchen is this side, and the bathroom is after the kitchen, and everything's weird. It's like let's simplify it.
I have a question for you on that point. So you mentioned before that you like to keep the company like a startup, like innovative, fast moving. That's great. But when you have people that like a startup environment, they are also sometimes distracted with new ideas. They always want to suggest new things like you just mentioned. So how do you balance that? How do you balance startup, innovation, company with staying focused and on task with what matters?
The number one challenge that I've had in the company is bureaucracy, right? When you're an entrepreneur and you used to do a startup, it's fast. And now everything have to go through legal and PMO and the software and all the check marking, which is fine. You have to do that. So how you can you still follow the process and be fast? So that's the number one challenge that we have. And then yes, all the initiatives, right? So I'm telling the team, let's be proactive. And then you'll see that you have 200 projects open. So what I start doing is, once again, going back to the basics. What are the basics things that we need, right? So is it helping my field, right? So is it helping my market partners? Is it good for my customers? Is it going to help my customers? Is it going to increase sales? Is it a legal thing that we need to do? Our compliance stuff that we really need to cover?
So those are the pillars that you...
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Pillars, yes.
That's it. If after that, everything is secondary. If after that we have time, let's do the other projects. But if it's not doing one of those, let's put in the back burner for now.
Yeah, that's something that I keep mentioning because that's something that in BoxyCharm we used to have. We had one goal, which is to grow. While you're profitable, keep growing. Don't optimize your profit, just optimize your growth while you're profitable. And then we had 4 pillars. Get the best product in the box, get the best experience for the members, get the best experience for the brands, get the best experience for the influencers. That's it. If you want to grow, follow those 4. We would sit down and you would hear managers, directors, VPs talking to their teams, and someone would come up with an idea to say, what pillar does it hit? So everything works, and then you can laser focus into one. Every brain in the organization knows where to go to and how to get there. You get not, if you have 100 people, 100 brains helping you now because they have a direction. So that's exactly what you guys did. You're just identifying what's important
But then you say, okay, so still you have a bunch of ideas to increase sales. Still we're having a lot. Okay. So then you have to have the instinct and the discussion. It's like, is this really going to matter? I mean, is this really going to move the needle? Sometimes, many times you'll try things that don't work. So I always tell the things that it's okay, right? If it doesn't work. What I want is for all of us to face the brutal facts fast, right? Because what happens is that we get so enamored with a project, and same thing that maybe with an executive with a project, and it's been 6 months, a year, And you knew from month 2 that that project was not going to take off. That's a BA initiative.
Yeah.
And you keep investing time, resources on that. So what I'm saying is, okay, you have to give it time. Say you give it a quarter. So if after a quarter it hasn't picked up, let's face the real facts. Listen,
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. Maybe it's your project. Hey, we're trying things. Don't feel bad. I'm not putting it on you. We tried.
Focus on results, not the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know the great things today is that you do so many things digitally, either on social media or through apps and platforms. That's really easy to measure.
Yes.
It's really easy to
You
measure.
can see right away. You can tell the feedback from the people. It's not back then you had to go and get focus groups sitting through a third party, identify. No, now it's just right away.
To your point, and sometimes the results will take time. Say we're doing something. Say I launched a new program, right? And I launched it last month, actually a month ago, and it's doing great in many KPIs. It's a challenge, another KPI, but I know it's working, right? I know it's moving masses. I know people's excited about it. I know the feedback. I know. We've done things that had cost an app that had cost us $200,000. After 3, 4, 5 months, you don't see picking it up. The numbers, right? The
Yeah.
numbers are not picking up. It's like,
Yeah.
and maybe we either have to reshape this, but many times people don't face the brutal facts.
No product. If it's not a product market fit, let's move on and try something else. Maybe it's gonna work. And we got a couple questions for you, by the way, because this is the first time we actually shot a story on my
We have a
my
lot of
page.
questions,
A lot of
actually.
questions. We're gonna go and ask you those. Before I start, I'm gonna go and say you're married. You have children. How many children do you own currently?
I have three.
Three.
Yeah.
Boys, girls.
I have 2 boys, and Vincent, 14, about to be 15. Nicholas is 11, and Paula, who just turned 8 a couple of
So you
days ago.
have 2 boys and a princess,
Yes.
pretty much. Right? That's awesome.
Literally the princess.
That's awesome. That's great. And how is the work-life
That was one of the
balance,
questions.
right?
Are you single? So we
Yeah.
answered that
Sorry,
one.
guys, he's not single. His wife is gorgeous and she's amazing. I know she's very involved in the business.
Yeah, she is in product development. So
Product development, yes. It's a beautiful thing to see you guys work together, travel together, doing everything together. I saw that you bring the family, the whole family with you. When you go to Bora Bora with all the influencers, you bring in the family so you don't waste time with the kids.
yeah, we really, I mean, I don't do this alone, right? My father is the chairman. He's not involved in the day-to-day, but he's my partner, my advisor. In my family, right, my siblings are involved. My sister do culture. We not name her chief of culture. She makes sure that we have...
Your sister.
My sister. She's
So
the head of the
beautiful.
foundation, but she makes sure that we're doing proper recognition, we keep it in the form, and that culture that makes us different. And my brother's chief of staff, he's involved in everything with operations. So he solved for my issues on the day-to-day. So.
Beautiful.
And my younger sister, well, I have a baby sister, but my younger sister is trying to get involved, and she loves to sing, so now she's doing the jingles for the company. So.
I just love the fact that you plugged in the company, the family into the company, so everyone gets a piece of the experience, get that understanding that you can build a business. Look, we're doing this together, and you keep the family with the same experiences. You don't get to experience everything by yourself. That's very nice.
Do you have any issues working with family?
No.
None.
Anybody asks us that. I think we have a high level of respect for each other, right? And I'm the CEO, so my siblings are my siblings, and they're my best friends, but they respect me as a CEO, and I respect them as the professionals they are at work. And no, we get along, and we love to have fun together too, so I think that's good. We really connect as friends.
And is there? I'm just one more family question. When you compare, like where your dad came from in direct sales, is there anything that you fundamentally disagree on in how you build a direct sales
Yes.
network marketing company?
Yes, many things, right? So fundamentally, we agree in most everything, right? Strategically, we don't, but we do now, right? So he have trust me on allowing to do my own strategies. But for example, that part of creating a real brand, right? He wasn't in love with that idea. He said, "Okay, that I don't think that was the key," and he allowed me and actually my sister to let's focus on create this cool brand, right? Initially, social media was like a secondary, and now he loves to be in social media himself, right? But fundamentally, we know this is a business of people, so we believe in that strongly, and we have always focused on doing whatever is best for our people. So that fundamental, I think, has been the glue for our strategies. Yeah.
Beautiful. Let's go and get some more questions
Okay.
here, and then I get
Oh my
over there.
goodness. Okay.
We have the Canadians that can read all the questions.
Well, we've kind of gone into this. So
Yes.
someone asked, what is your business background? But more or less you've answered that. So let's keep going.
Wiping tables before. that.
Wiping tables.
Well, I
yeah.
went to law school in Venezuela for
Oh.
a couple of years. Yeah, I was going to
Okay.
be a lawyer.
Un abogado.
Yeah,
Mira.
and
qué
really
bien.
good at it. Really good
Nice.
at it. So
What did you just say?
Un abogado
I don't know what that.
means a lawyer in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, and still I'm really good at that still, right, to the date. I'm really good at that. And I was going to be a lawyer, but went to business schools here in FIU.
Oh, you went to business school?
Yeah, went to business school.
All right, look, me too. What years did you go?
I ended up, what year did I graduate? 2004.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
I'm on 07. I
All right.
finished, yes.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah, look at
Maybe
that.
there is something. I keep butchering them with the, oh, it's not going to work. It doesn't do anything. But I
Did
don't
it-
know,
did-
man.
did-
Oh yeah, now you're teaching them.
Did business school do anything for you?
Yeah, yes. I truly believe that business school in
You gotta
general.
fight.
Yeah, I know your point.
I know, yeah.
And I'm with you mostly,
Yeah.
right? But I think business school gives you structure, right? So it has allowed me to have some kind of structure
Okay.
around many.
You did your
things.
master or your bachelor?
Bachelor.
A bachelor like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck
Yeah.
master. What the hell do we need? More
Yeah,
case
but
studies.
nowadays, though it's different, right? I mean,
Yeah.
15 years ago, you didn't have the level of information
Mm-hmm.
Online.
online that
yeah.
you have today for free, or maybe for a nominal
Fee, yeah.
investment. So I think it's different now. I do still think I would still encourage my kids to go to school, to go to college. Now, if you don't want to go, I say, okay, what are you going to do? And you're going to be the best. at
Just
it.
do something. You don't. Yeah.
And be
don't
the
do
best at
nothing.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think curiosity, and I think that makes us different, is you have to really be really curious.
Mm-hmm.
Curiosity, it's about, I see people that are experts of things just by watching videos on YouTube about certain
Mm-hmm. Could you
topics.
have done what you've done without going to business school?
No,
Honest.
who knows? Who knows? I
You
mean,
can't tell the outcome, but was there anything instrumental that without you taking that class?
oh
you
no,
wouldn't
no,
have-
no, no,
Right.
no. Specifically, no. I just think the level of structure. I mean, the fact that when you grow the company, now you have to deal with a board, and you have to deal with structures, org charts,
And you
all these
needed-
kind of
yeah,
things. And I think it helps you, right? Understand that faster.
Interesting.
Now,
Okay.
could you delegate those things? Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the question.
Okay.
Okay, let's go through some of these. So first question, I won't read the names, I guess. I
You can
shouldn't-
read the name. I mean, Johnny. No one's gonna know Johnny, is it?
Yeah, but they
Bunch of
might know.
Johnnies. No, well, they'll know. We mentioned them. We give them the credit.
All
You
right.
can say the name of the handle. I mean,
Okay,
they-
so the Ryan Morgan asks, any business that is done as MLM immediately loses credibility to me. Why MLM?
Right. Well, we're talking. I think it's fair that there is a bad name. I understand why there is a bad name on multi-level marketing, on network marketing, because once again, back in the 90s, there was no regulation, right? And a lot of companies just push products to the distributors without caring about what they were going to do with the products.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people just ended up overloading products on their garages, in their closets. It's different now, right? Because right now you do the investment and you look for customers, and the company will ship the products to the customers, and you'll get a commission.
Mm.
So it's pretty different from what it was before.
I guess it's kind of hard to get away with the name. It's just like they're saying Honduras is a very dangerous place, but today it's actually not. It used to 10, 20 years ago, right? Like it's not as dangerous, right? So it takes a
And
while.
why instead of direct to consumer or regular B2B?
Because network marketing will give you the platform, as you said it yourself. You go into network marketing, a good company, right? And I'm not going to say Monat is the only great network marketing company, because there are some out there, not many, but some. Because the other thing you want to see is an actual product, right? And still not an actual product, a great product.
Agreed,
right?
yeah.
So what we do, for me, the way I measure the quality of my products is, and I would never do this because I believe in the channel, would this product survive in a shelf in Sephora?
Mm-hmm.
Would this product survive in a shelf in Ulta, right? And that's for me a stress test. And then the other thing is that we do PR. But editors will pick up the products that they like. I mean,
Of course.
I don't pay the editors, and I see editors picking up the products by their claims, clinicals, results, the branding, the innovation that we're presenting. So go with a company If you're going to go to a company, a network marketing company, go with a company that have products that you actually believe in. And then you work with a company that you have products that believe in, they have the culture that you like the branding, you're representing a brand. That's what you're doing. You don't have to do a website, because the website will be given to you, in our case. You have the support of a community. And that's the other thing. It's a cult. It's a positive cult. Right? They're drinking the Kool-Aid. I'll drink this Kool-Aid all day long. It's a Kool-Aid of what?
Making money, business opportunity.
Helping each other. If you're in the right culture.
Yes.
You have to be in the right culture, right? So we praise ourselves of saying that we're in a culture, not saying, no, we don't say it, the community says it. We're a culture that everybody's helping each other, right? That you're going to have a training platform, you're going to have customer service support, you don't have to carry inventory, we'll carry the returns, you have 30 days money back guarantee. You don't have to worry about any of that. All you have to worry is about marketing the product and selling the product. And if you decide to build a team, people will join.
So in other words, look, you like the product, you think it makes sense, you can join the company. If you don't like the product and you think the product is a scam, then the whole company is a scam. Kind of like that. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. And then, well, you know what? But I feel ashamed, right? Do you know how many people that makes hundreds of thousands of dollars told me that they were so ashamed of being one of those, right? You know how many dads? I know the stories of dads because
Yes.
We have a lot of young girls, right? Our demographics is between 24 and 35. And a lot of dads saying, I was against this, and now they're wearing the hat. And it took husbands, let's say, don't get into that to the girls. And then they go to the events, it's like, this is an actual amazing community, right? And I always tell people, in our case, you join Monat and you're going to join a community, worst case scenario, you'll become a better person. Because the world out there is just full of negativity. Everywhere you go. And you come in a positive community, what's the worst that could happen, right? So.
Yeah.
Charles C. Masters asks, how do you prioritize and maximize your daily efforts as a CEO of such a big company? Right. I have a schedule, right? So I make sure I have a schedule and it doesn't take a lot of work, right? Your phone, you use your calendar. And I make sure that my schedule is always full with activities. And then I let my schedule pull me, right? Because when you let your schedule pull you, in my opinion, it will allow you to do the things that you don't want to, even if you don't feel like to. Because that's a key thing, right? As a discipline, right? Yeah. Most of days, people think that it's a perfect life. Listen, so there are days that it's like, this is saying, I don't wish this life for many people. Yeah. It's a lot of stress, and it's doing a lot of things that you don't like, right? So if you put it into your schedule, it's like, this is what I have to do today because I have to, right? And the business need me to do it. So having a schedule, and I live by the schedule to the minute. Good answer.
A plus.
Virgilia Verjoi, I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. What's the unique personal branding story that makes you stand out in the beauty market? We have natural-based products that actually work. You mentioned this before, yeah. So it's Modern Nature is that mixture of natural-based ingredients with clinical studies. So we recently launched a product. It's called IR Clinical. That will help you with your scalp, that will help you with your hair fall. And we just did it a month ago, and it's in partnership with the University of Miami, right? So we do believe in the science, but we use natural-based ingredients. So. Marwan Blitz asks, what's the best recession-proof industry to start for e-commerce or just any company? Best recession-proof. Network marketing. Network marketing? Yeah, because when the recession, and I actually spoke about this in my convention, beauty industry is great, right? People will keep taking care of themselves no matter what, and you know this. But network marketing, too, because when things get tough, what do you need? You need an extra income. Yeah. And that's when more people will say,
So the barrier to entry to your business is much higher than just going in online and do what everyone else is doing. Yours is a little bit more complex. So once you go into a network that exists already, you have already a pool of people, right?
And what product so you say network marketing, what product would you do if it wasn't hair care? If I was, I did hair care for 5 years. And then I moved into skincare, right? And we're doing very well in skincare. Use the same mantra, natural-based products that actually work, Modern Nature. And we're number 12 in the United States as a brand of skincare. And then we did wellness. I could do natural-based products. Right? You have to be around the sustainability story nowadays. You have to actually have ingredients that are bulletproof, that if the customer Google, they will come out as safe. People, I mean, the level of scrutiny that customers have today on products is amazing, right?
Yeah.
So that's confusing. I said, don't go with Dr. Google all the time, right? Because they won't give you the right answer. But I think natural-based, anything that's natural-based, that's sustainable, and if you can find something that you can share on Instagram, right? That is Instagrammable. Right? And in Miami, I always say, like, the best places, the best restaurants, the best hotels, everything is that they have an Instagrammable moment. Try to have products that can have that too.
Good. D. Centinello asks, what's the worst way or the dumbest way you've seen somebody sabotage their own success?
By losing focus. See it all the time. See it all the time. And see it with my own market partners. They start making some money and now drop the ball, start traveling and creating content. Right? It's like, listen, content is important. Right? We all are in social media. But content is not the only thing. Right? You really have to work day in, day out. And to think that to make some kind of money in a year is all the money in the world when there is so much more to do, I think that the biggest mistake is like you're sabotaging yourself just by dropping the ball so fast.
Zadie Z asks, what was the biggest mistake you made early on when you first started your company?
Yeah, well, we talk about mistakes, right?
Yeah.
I think not fighting people fast enough or not hiring the right people. I think you have to depending on the industry that you are, just do the due diligence in terms of compliance. Because sometimes we don't mean bad, but we make mistakes. So just the due diligence and the compliance part. I think those few things here and there. Yeah.
Eric Sue asks, what are you investing in now? What are you excited about?
Yeah. Well, I didn't follow Joseph's advice, so I invested in the stock markets. Stocks.
You're stuck there for a while now, though.
I know. So it sucks. So I did that. I also did an investment. That's when you start having some kind of capital on one of these funds.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Mutual funds, social ripoff.
Really?
Social ripoff. Don't do that. But in terms of investment, but that was, for me, it's very passive. I'm very focused on what I do and really believe in
Mostly
focus.
investing in your business and yourself, right?
Yeah, and really believe in focus. And I think you posted something like that. It's like, yes, don't multiple string of incomes. No. Yeah. That's when you really are multimillionaire and you can really have multiple strings of passive income. But if you really want to be the best at something and really to succeed at something, you have to pull all the eggs in your basket and wash the basket.
Yeah, you can go and build a company like yours if you're trying 20 other things. It's like, I need to make sure I have a real estate portfolio while I'm building. But no, you have to do one thing, take it to the moon. And then after you exit, perhaps when you have some time, build a portfolio that is barely being managed. And then you can, but it's just to give this advice to everybody. It's just not.
No, but like I was saying, I love to tell people this. Will I put all the eggs in one basket? Yes. Put your eggs in one basket and wash that basket very carefully every day.
I love that. Yeah.
That's smart. That's good. Do you want to do some? There's a whole bunch of questions on money. Do you want to do questions on money?
Sure.
Let's do them.
All about money, liquidity.
All right. Biggest financial regret?
Investing in the stock market.
Okay. Is it better to...
And it's not the first time. It's the second time I made the same mistake.
You came
but the thing is that
at the hype every time?
No, not at the really high, but it always goes down. It's too much stress for me. Yeah. Right? Stress that I don't need because I want to be focusing on my business. It's just that you get greedy, right? So when you see it going up and up and you don't get out.
Yeah.
I think if you have a discipline and you say, when I put investment, once I'm making 30%, I'm going to get out. And I was disciplined like that, and then you say, well, you know what, maybe 60%.
Yeah.
And then...
Nobody wants to leave the party, but then midnight comes and
exactly.
the carriage, it's Buffett's line is like, it turns into a pumpkin and now everyone's stuck.
Actually, all these questions are from Elizabeth Pipko. These are really good questions. So is it better to strike gold early on or make it later on in life? Like first time, is it good to have a success or does that ruin you?
No, I don't think so. Early on is fine for me.
Do you feel money changes people or merely amplifies what's already there?
I think it amplifies what's already there. 100%.
Most expensive thing you've ever bought?
Do I have to say that?
You don't have to if you don't want to. Move on.
It's a good one.
It is a good one.
Yeah.
No, I don't. You know what? I don't buy a lot of expensive stuff. Maybe a watch.
Okay, that's
it's the
fine.
most
Nothing
expensive
wrong with
thing,
that.
Yeah, it's all good.
If you could use your wealth to solve one of the world's problems, which one would you solve?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think I'm really focused on hunger. Yeah.
Have people treated you differently as you've made more and more money?
A little bit, and it annoys me. In terms of, I think people just, I don't know if the word scare or they just don't really want to be. I think people get nervous sometimes, and I laugh. It's like, why are you nervous around me, right? I think people get nervous, and then they're not themselves, right? Just be yourself, right? Be normal. Act normal. So.
No, that's good. Can money buy happiness?
No, but it really puts you in a great position to be happy, right? And because if it amplifies who you are, right, you're just going to be happier, right? If it amplifies who you are and you're already a miserable person, you're just going to find ways to be miserable, right? So I've always said I was super happy when I bought my first townhouse in, what year was 2004? So I was 23. I was really happy when I bought my first car. I was really happy when I moved to my house. And it's like in every stage of my life, I cannot be happier than what I am now. But it's because you will find ways to be happy. But I see people that they just find ways to be miserable. So with money.
What can you share? Wait, I'm just reading these. Can you share about the way? No. Okay. So what would you tell somebody who feels like giving up?
I understand most people will give up, and I think that's the nature of the world. So don't be like everybody else.
I love that.
I love it.
And how much of your success would you attribute to luck?
It's a debate. I was talking to my dad actually about that the other day. I think you need to have some luck. People say like, no, it's not. There's a saying, I love this saying, the harder I work, the luckier I get, which I believe in that too. It's like when you really focus and you're really immersed and you're really passionate, everything goes right. It's funny, right? Yeah. Because you maybe you know to take the right decisions, you know what to do. But I think you want to call it blessings, or you want to call it universe, or whatever you believe in.
We want the specific percentage, Ray. No, I'm just kidding.
You need a little bit of luck, right? You need a little bit of luck.
Actually, you kind of mentioned this. You already mentioned about what causes you want to give back to, and or what problems you'd like to solve. So that's a duplicate question. So, what mindfulness practices? This is from Rachel Perez. What mindfulness practices do you use in your daily life to stay focused and stay centered?
Yeah, exercise. Exercise for me is big, right? So I think two things that I always advise. Exercise, not only because you want to be healthy and look good, but it really clears your mind. I can tell you how many times I have gotten into the gym and I was just overwhelmed or just upset and got out of there like nothing. And then don't let yourself immerse into negative news. So I always tell people, do not watch news. There's no point on it. Be informed. But with the phone, you can see the headlines. That's all you need to know. If you need to know about something, and don't let yourself into rabbit holes of negativity, even on social media and all that. So I think if you do those things, you will stay positive, right?
Amazing. That's most of the questions. Those were good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That was good.
Anything else you want to go into?
Give us some tips for people that try to get work-life balance, or not as much as more like a family, kids, business balance.
Because you've been doing it since 18.
Yes, you've done this very successfully, very effectively. So what would you tell people?
Yeah, I have a saying. Actually, I was going to put it in the wall in my office that says, you know that they said you cannot have it all? I think you can have it all. Right? I do think that it's time for everything. Once again, if you really follow a plan on the daily basics, right? And then you can balance quality. It's not about quantity of time, for example, with your kids. It's not about the quantity of the time that you give to your kids. For me, it's the quality of the time that you give to your kids.
So when you're there, you're present.
Correct. Yeah. Be present, be intentional, right? For example, with my wife, I always said, I want to be intentional about doing day nights, right? I want to be intentional about spending certain slot of times during the week with her, with my family. I want to be intentional about, hey, listen, say my siblings, we haven't had fun together in a couple of months. Let's do something. Because I think people just let themselves go with whatever happens on the daily basis instead of being intentional on how you're going to spend your time. And so I always say, okay, after a day of work or after a day of activities, I always ask myself, how was this day impactful for me? Right? Say, for example, I took the day off because it was my girl's birthday a couple of days ago. And I took her to different places. She wanted to go to Target, and she wanted to go to one of these indoor parks. And for me, it was powerful, right? Because it was important for me. I don't do that all the time, but I did it that day. That's it. And so for me, it's being intentional, have a plan, and depending on what's important for you, make sure that you are cultivating those moments, right? And that there is time for everything, even for exercise, right? I decided, what was it now? Like 9 years ago, that I wanna get fit and wanna be healthy, and it's a non-negotiable for me. I will go to the gym no matter what, 1 hour a day. So it's a non-negotiable. If you do non-negotiables in your life, it's like this is a non-negotiable. There's so many hours of the day. I see people say, I don't have time. Really, you don't have time? Let me see how long you spend on social media.
Yeah.
I bet you spend 20. I did that exercise recently.
That's how you make money, though. You text and scroll, right?
right. And then I don't even have to do anything. Just be positive and be on Instagram. So I go 20 hours. How much can you do in 20 hours? Listen, you can do so much and still have time to watch an hour of TV.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the extremes. Like, don't watch TV. Don't do it. Listen, I watch TV. I go out.
How many emails do you respond in a day?
Oof, a lot.
Okay.
I haven't thought about it, but I wouldn't say less than 40 emails.
Interesting.
No less than that.
Okay.
Yeah. And way more text messages.
Okay.
So, I mean, because that's the thing. The phone gives you the flexibility, right, of working, of taking the fast decisions, the important decisions. But once again, you have to balance everything. I think an unbalanced life is when you say, I'm just going to dedicate all my time to work. How about the family? Or I'm going to dedicate all my time to my kids. Yeah, but the kids needs a future. So you cannot just spend all the time with your kids. Oh, I'm going to be all the time with my wife traveling.
I think many times it's just excuses for people that don't want to do one job and they're just going to that zone and they said, I'm only over here because XYZ. Instead of say, well, I'm not building the business because it's not secure, so I'd rather get that day job. And because it's not secure, I don't want to say I don't want to start it because it's not a good excuse, because that's the investment. You go into the unknown and you're putting your time, perhaps money. And they'll go and they'll say, I want to be more with my kids. But you just said, what do I need to do to make money? I'm just telling you. And it's like, and that's one of the reasons. It's ask yourself, am I giving myself? Don't lie to yourself. Don't give yourself the excuse. Maybe to others, but ask yourself deeply, is it
once
really
again, but
the
be
reason?
intentional. I mean, if you're building a business and you're building a family, if you want to build yourself, you have to be intentional and say, if I want to build myself, I really have to spend some time reading a book or listening to a podcast. I have to do it. I don't feel like it, but it's part of your goals. You have to do it. Are you building a family? You have to spend time, quality time with your family. You're building a business. You have to know how to balance your business. But yeah, I like that. I think people create excuses in their heads, and because you tend to do the things that you like to do, not the things that you have to do.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
You're more emotional, right? Your decisions are emotional and they're being justified by rational explanation, but they are emotional. So when you don't want to go to the gym, you'll tell all the stories of the why. Right? There is going to be a story why, but you can shoot holes into that story in a second if you just want to. But the core, the bottom line is you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, I don't like that saying that says, do what you love and you work another day in your life. It doesn't make sense. If you love 50% of what you do, you're lucky.
Exactly.
You're lucky. So it's not like you're not going to work another day of your life. It's not realistic. You have to do things that you don't like and then enjoy the results, right? But you have to enjoy the journey too. So what I do is, in anything I do, even if I don't like it, trying to find my way to enjoy it, right? And running companies, for example, there's so many things that
I would actually say that when you truly are not doing anything that's uncomfortable, it's actually not a very good life.
Yeah.
It's not a good life at all. And that's actually, in my opinion, why people retire, then they die.
Absolutely.
They die the second they stop trying to progress. And you actually, not just like metaphorically, like people that actually stop
Literally.
working, they're healthy, they stop
No, there are
working,
studies about that.
and
right?
then like 5 years, 10 years, their
Boom.
health deteriorates immensely. Not everybody, but it does happen.
There are
So-
studies about that because
Yeah.
you have to have a reason to
Yeah.
keep going.
The
And
self-actualization, I think that's the term. You need a self-actualization to know that you're here because you're important, and you're in the middle of building something, so you don't disrupt your mind with negative thoughts, with everything else, right? If you go to any elderly community and a central village over here, what you're gonna find is that they'll call for maintenance for every little problem. The worst people you can rent the house to is old people that do nothing because
Never
they're
thought
home
about
all day and they have nothing else to do but complain, right? When you're busy doing something, you don't care about that little noise coming from you don't care about all those stuff. It doesn't bother your life, and that's where people start deteriorating.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. No, but I love what you said too about comfort zone. And that's something we always have to ask ourselves. If I'm really comfortable, there is something wrong. Right? If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. It's like a muscle. You have to break the muscle for the muscle to grow. So you have to break in yourself all the time for you to grow. And once you grow, now because you know that they always say, be outside your comfort zone. I tell people, no, expand your comfort zone.
I love that.
So you
That
keep
sounds-
expanding
awesome.
your comfort zone, right?
I love it. You heard what Elon Musk said when they asked him, what advice do you have for people who wants to be entrepreneurs?
I didn't hear that. Well,
Did you hear
I've
that?
seen a couple clips of him,
Said,
but
if I need to convince you to be an entrepreneur, then don't be an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
That
good
was-
advice.
Like, do you understand how many raining days you're gonna have? Moments that you're gonna doubt yourself, that you're gonna think you're not the right person. You're gonna have all those moments that you're gonna say, I wish I just had a stable job that I can just pay the bills because I don't have money to pay. It's just all those moments that are tough. And you said, do I really want to go through it? But somehow some people prevail and make it through the other side.
Yeah, it's a trade-off.
not for everyone.
It's a trade-off, right?
Yes.
I mean, you can find a great job, go to college, find a great job, and make $200,000 a year. That's good. You make a good life out of it, right? And you know it's stable, you know it's predictable. I mean, you can get fired, but
Yeah.
it's very predictable normally. And then you're in business, and
You don't know.
and you're growing, and there are days that you're just like, how many
Lawsuits
times?
are on you, defamation is, it's all on you.
No, how
right?
many times you're gonna say I'm out of cash, or
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what tomorrow is. But then it's a trade-off because then you have the flexibility, you have not only the potential of building unlimited wealth, but the flexibility, the freedom. And that's what I always tell people too who want to be market partners. I cannot believe you don't want to get freedom and be free of your time, right? And working on your own terms. Not work less. Because being an entrepreneur is not about working less. It's about working more. It's about having more stress. But it's about being free, right? And I think that's the most powerful thing that we entrepreneurs have.
You can create your own liabilities, your own, I would say, obligations. You create your own obligations. Yeah. Everything you're doing as an entrepreneur, you're doing it for yourself, so it's much more digestible in your own hand versus someone else telling you what to do.
Right, absolutely. But you have to have the self-discipline,
Yes.
and you have to have the courage, and you have to have the mental strength. I think the number one thing, right? People don't have mental strength, right? Be pragmatic and have the mental strength to know that there is no plan B. I was talking about the plan B, because I think that too. If you're always thinking, well, you know what, worst case scenario, and that happens a lot in this business, in my business, because it's easy to get in, it's easy to get out, right? If you invest $100,000 of your life savings into, say, a restaurant or a spa, you want to do everything in your power to make it work, because that's it, right? You put all this money that took you years to save. If you put $200, you'll find an excuse to quit fast, right? So it's easy out, and that's the thing. It's like, treat this as a business and really fight for your dreams and know that it's a level playing field. If there is hundreds and thousands of people doing it, making it work, what's the difference? The difference is you.
So do you have this data among your partners, the people the commission people? If you see a group of you that started together and they're doing good, all of them are mostly going to do good versus randomly people that come in by themselves and they'll just give up because they don't have a network of friends that are doing the same thing successfully to give them the motivation to know it's possible? You don't have that data?
No, but I can tell you, it doesn't make a difference.
Really?
It doesn't make a difference. I have it. I I have market partners that have come with being influencers, right, already, and they have this huge network. A few have make it work, I mean, big, and some they never work for
Nothing.
them, right? I have had people that came with their Instagram, with 100 people on their Instagram, and they have gone all the way to the top.
Wow.
I have people that have come and have been lucky to get a great upline, so a great person that brought them and mentored them. I have people that have and been successful.
So mentoring is important in your business?
It is very important.
Interesting.
It's very important. But hey, I have people that have come without a great mentor and still
Made it.
they made it. They found their way. We offer a lot of resources, right? We have virtual trainings, we have events, training events that the corporation does. And you have a lot of support in the community. They find ways. So it's not really, there is no really one way that you say, this is the key. Mm-hmm. No, it's about the person. The person makes a difference.
Last question I had, you mentioned comfort zones, and obviously you said like expand your comfort zone. I love that. What are you working on right now? You built a great company, obviously very successful. What are you doing to push yourself out of your own comfort zone or expand your comfort zone?
Well, I always want to be a better leader, right? So I think once you grow a certain size of company, I have executive teams, I have hundreds of thousands of people looking up to me, and try myself to be a better leader, right? And leadership is a whole topic. So trying to be that level 5 leader is what I'm trying to strive for.
Beautiful.
Amazing. All right, that's it, man. Thank
Ray,
you so much.
Thank you so much.
All
That
right.
was amazing.
All right, cool.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the conversation.
Me too. Me too.
Brother, thanks for
We're
coming
gonna have
down.
you coming again.